Alright, so, here's one of the things that can happen when you live in a motorhome and you're on the street and, you start talking about these older motorhomes and why they're not worth a lot of money. And it has to do with the fact that you've got a small cabin that's going through an earthquake and a hurricane, every time you go down the road. And when you've got the earthquake and hurricane thing happening, it's going to degrade things. And the high risk item on that is the propane lines. That's the high risk item on that whole thing, is the propane lines. And this isn't the first time I've seen this sort of thing. It is probably the first one where I was able to get to a camera. It's never a good thing when this happens to somebody. And but it's something to look out for. 9 times out of 10, it's the cooking, it's the propane, it's that sort of stuff. People ask me why I really avoid using the propane appliances in my motorhome. This is why. Now, mine had rebuild and all that kind of stuff. It's just, I don't want to take the risk if it's not necessary, okay? And it's one of the reasons why having a lot of stuff that's modular, not built in, but separate, it's one of the reasons why it can be a more desirable thing. This type of disaster could happen in the city or the country. It could happen anywhere, really. And it's one of the things that sometimes you're just not going to want to, you're not going to see it coming. Other times, you might smell that leak, you might think something's going on, and then you want to ignore it, and then realize this stuff can happen. It's one of the reasons I prefer the stuff to be electric only on, let's say, my trailer, why I set up all the appliances to be electric only. Anyway, I'm going to try and talk to these people, see what happened. My guess is that, a propane line snapped somewhere around a pilot light or something, which is usually what happens. Usually it's a propane leak, got in touch with an open flame. And these things happen very quickly. I smelled the fire a little while ago, wasn't quite sure what it was, thought I'd go out, and then whammo, I'd come across this scene. So there it is, and the woman who owns this rig, she wasn't even sure how the fire started. They really don't know how it started. They think it may have been electrical. And you can see this one's a wood frame, fiberglass top, everything burned very quickly, according to the people here. And it's rough, And so if you're van dwelling or living in one, you want to think about metal and fiberglass rigs. Some of these older rigs that were a lot of wood, that's how quickly they go up. I mean, this thing went up in a hurry, and apparently somebody was on it with a fire extinguisher right away, but they couldn't suppress it. When the fire trucks arrived, you can see it scorched all the trees, scorched all this area. They got it handled in a hurry. I mean, we've got pretty good fire service and everything here, but that's one of the problems with this type of setup is if you have a fire, it goes up in a hurry. I was surprised to hear that it wasn't the propane, and I'm looking back here, and it doesn't look like that's where it started. It looked like, something in here, and whatever it was, it's gone now. It went up that quickly. It's a shame for the lady. Fortunately for them, they were not living in it. This wasn't really their home. They were traveling, but they've got a car, and they're gonna be okay. But I'm sure, this is one of those things you always got to consider when you do the RV thing.